Welcome everyone to this video where I try to put together my first ever travel altar. I decided to use this old antique kind of cherry sweets box I have been using for years to hold my watercolor, as you can see, because I used the lid to mix my colors. So the first thing I needed to do was to clean it. My witchy things are scattered around my room, and because I didn't know exactly what I wanted to use yet, I collected a little bit of everything. So first I decided to go for stones and crystals. I decided to take the ones I used the most or that resonated with me in the moment. For herbs I kinda knew which ones I wanted because I really have favorites when it comes to herbs. Some of them are stored inside these glasses, some are stored in the box you can see behind them, and others are stored in random containers on my shelves because over the years my witchy side kind of took over my living space, so I need to go through every shelf I own to collect all of the things I want. With this box I collected many rocks, shells and flotsams from the beach. I have many different types of little treasures I found in the ocean and at the beach. Some ocean glass, some bones, again many shells and rocks, and I decided to take some of those with me. So my first step was to fill the glass bottles with the herbs and other things I wanted to bring with me, and I already filled one with ocean salt, one with Himalaya salt, one with rosemary and one with lavender. The next one I filled was with basil. This one I harvested myself and dried back when I was living in Greece. My sixth one was dried olive leaves, which hold a very specific and important meaning to me personally. I think they are so rich in power, and everything that regards olives is just very close to my heart and is in some form, shape or size incorporated into my spells. While I assembled all of the glass bottles, it crossed my mind to also use chamomile because at the moment it's one of my most used herbs. But I also believe that this section will change down the road. I'm already thinking about exchanging rosemary for eucalyptus and chamomile for rose, but either I need to add just more herbs in general or just change them out on my journey. Then I decided to get a bit creative with my matches because the box was too tiny to fit in the original packing. So I cut the box open and removed the side of the ignition paper and started to fill the box with some matches. I stapled one side and put a hairband on the other, not only to hold the improvised box together, but also to secure the cut out ignition paper, making some kind of lid or lock for the matches inside. Next, I prepared all the art witchy things I wanted to include. I cut some paper for sigil magic or written spells or just spells that include drawing. Then I chose a permanent marker to potentially write on any surface I come across and a normal pencil to use on the paper I put inside before. I also cut an old paintbrush in half because I intend to add watercolor to my altar. Next to the writing paper, I included some colored crafting paper in different sizes to do either the same kinds of spells, just with extra color correspondences, or to do some unique art witchcraft. Now it's time for assembling. At this point I also decided what I wanted to put in my travel altar. First I'm putting in my spell candles, followed by the herbs I decided to take with me. Next are the spell bottles. A little piece of white charcoal to write on any surface outside. Then I choose to put in my watercolor paints, a green and a white piece of ocean glass, obsidian, which is the only crystal I will take with me, and this is a very specific one because I made it myself to look like an prehistoric artifact, not only to connect myself to our history and all of our ancestors. Then a tiny piece of Palo Santo, my pen and my brush, then the matches I made, and last some bay leaves. And as you can see, I put some sigils on the bottom of the metallic tin or box I'm using to aid me while I use my travel altar. I wanted to talk about my travel altar, because while I was putting it together I thought, is there some kind of checklist I could give everyone to make their own? You can go from point to point to check if you have the essentials in here. And then I kind of thought, what if my essentials are not your essentials? What use have essentials if you A, don't know how to use them, B, not gonna use them because you're not connected with them, or C, you just don't use them, and if you do, it's like 1 out of 10 times. Every travel altar should not consist of any essentials. It should consist of the things you know you will use, because either you know them by heart, you know them by heart basically, you know. I cannot take a grimoire with me. You can have one on your phone, for example, but I know many people just don't have that. You need to know how to construct and build spells from the get-go without needing to research any ingredients or any steps you need for that. So in my case, for example, I have art stuff in here, like the watercolors and the colored paper. I have that's why I need a pen, because I do so much with art and sigil magic, which I both know by heart. This is important for me, you know. This is why this is in here. Like if you're, for example, a kitchen witch, a pen or like a brush and watercolors or aquarelle colors won't be the first thing you will put in your travel altar. It doesn't make any sense. The same goes for the herbs I have in here. They are not many, because these are the ones I know the most. I use the most and I know the best. So I know how they work, I know how they feel, and I know how I can combine them if I need them. I have lots more in my up there in my archive of magical things. Also the ocean glass that's in here, the only spell I do with this is a soothing spell, because I know I'm in the need of soothing many times. I have it in here, you know, it has a very specific reason to be in here, which is also a thing you can think about. It's been a hot minute since I made this video, and with hot I mean absolutely not hot at all. And I wanted to add some things, because I have been without a home. Well, I moved, but I had a period of my life last year where I didn't have a home for like 3 months. So I had my travel altar with me and got the chance to work with it quite a bit. And I want to add some things I thought are very important for this video, because I changed my own opinion about it. I want to add that. So I said in the video that you should know your spells by heart, which I don't think is correct. You're like a beginner or something, you're like, oh fuck, I don't know any spells by heart, I need to look up everything every time. It's fine, you know. You always, at least I had like always some time to Google things. Like if you need to Google like correspondences or what works best with other things, or just spells as a whole, there is time for that. Also, like, don't get stressed about, oh, I don't have the perfect amount of herbs in my travel altar, or there are some things missing, because in 99% der Fälle, I don't know how to say it in English, you will have a kitchen on hand. For example, I was living with my friends for some time. They have a kitchen. They had like spices. What I found is an absolute like lifesaver is like tea bags, tea blends. Works perfectly. If you're on the road, you need to get creative, you know, and it's fine if you don't know things by heart, because you can always look it up. There's time enough if you have a phone and internet access. It was quite comfortable to be able to know things by heart. I just could, you know, it was easy. The tea is the thing that will save your life, honestly. It's so easy to work with tea. That was a very interesting realization I had when I was like, oh. Also, a thing that I discovered is that I always take my angel cards with me, the ones I use for spirit communication, and they don't fit in my travel altar, so I always have an extra box with me just to take them with me. And that's not quite efficient, so I need to kind of find a way to fix that. So I would say, if you want to build a travel altar, don't go down a checklist and say, okay, I need salt, a candle. Construct your own. Sit down and think, okay, A, what do I love to use? B, what do I use the most? And C, what comes natural to me? What do I know by heart? I'm very curious what you put in here. Like if you're a kitchen witch, I mean, you cannot put like ingredients in here to bake something. Obviously, it's too tiny. But I'm very curious what you put in here. Or if you're working a lot with, let's say, ancestors or spirits. Like, what would you put in here to have always with you? I'm very curious about that, so let me know. I hope you enjoyed this video and my little additions, and I'm quite curious how it will change over time. Bye bye!